The entire universe is made up of patterns.
Your patterns are keeping you scared, small, afraid, and you not living up to your potential.
Your brain is always developing habits, so it's happening whether you want it to happen or not. And the question is, can you take control of the process?
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I am not a morning person. But when you start your day with a routine that inspires you, like watching one of these videos, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from John Assaraf.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso, keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
What you'll see is just patterns, patterns and more patterns. The entire universe is made up of patterns that could be explained mathematically for the most part, but we can also just see behaviors. And so it's not difficult, but it takes effort to be able to override some of the natural, brain's propensity, the brain's desire to keep us away from hurting ourselves.
To re-educate our brain.
Yeah. And if you think about, when we're young, what do our parents do? Oh, be careful. Oh, don't fall down. Oh, watch out how you ride the bicycle. And if you fall down, well, my kids, when they were young, I let them fall and I let them do things so that they would get accustomed to get up. I wouldn't go and baby them.
Yes.
They'd fall down. It was like, great, you fell down, get back up.
Because they learn that it's okay.
Yeah, most kids, when they fall down, they'll look at an adult to see, well,
is it okay or not?
is it okay or not? And usually the adults are either going to baby them and overcompensate, or they're going to look at them and say, come on, get up and do what you need to do.
You're being run by your patterns. Your subconscious mind is the one that's in control, not your conscious mind. It's not your brain consciously telling you what you need to do and in charge. It's your subconscious mind. It's your patterns. It's what you've been taught, trained, and programmed to do. But the problem is, it's keeping you small. Your patterns are keeping you scared, small, afraid, and you not living up to your potential. And in this video, I want to help you break it. One of my patterns that I struggled a lot with is the need to be famous. I attribute fame with ego, with not serving, with being selfish, and I got that from my parents, who are super humble people, and especially my father had no need to be the center of attention, and I really respected that about him, and I became that as well. And one of the biggest fights I used to get into with my agent all the time, Steve, out of New York, was, you don't want to be famous. Your problem, Evan, is you don't want to be famous. And I was a weird client for him because almost everybody at the agency that he started, they all want to be famous, and his job is to help get them famous. He took me on because he loved my message. Like, the problem with the people I have who came in is they want to be famous, but they don't have a message. You've got a great message and belief, but you don't want to be famous. It's like, yeah, I don't want to be famous. And I thought it was a good thing. Like, yeah, it's not about me. It's about the people. It's about the message. It's about serving. It's about spreading belief. I don't need to be the front man for it. I just want people to believe in their Michael Jordan level genius. Let's get it out there. That's the whole goal. That's why I do what I do. I have no need to be famous. I'm an introvert. I'm shy. I don't like the camera on me. I don't like the spotlight on me. It doesn't fill me up. Where for a lot of people, they crave it, they need it. It's part of how they get excitement and energy and motivation. For me, it's the opposite. And I would fight for years with my agent about this. For years, we would fight about it. And then he finally, I don't know if he said it the right way, or I'd been exposed to enough other content, or what happened, but it finally clicked with me. It finally clicked that if you get more well-known, you can spread belief more. The more people know you, the more your message can get out there. And it's not getting well known or getting famous isn't about me being selfish. It's actually the opposite. It's me being selfless. The more people know me, the more I can serve, the more I can spread the message, the more I can help. And I had to flip to say, okay, my story now becomes important. and it's selfish not to share the story. That was a real mind twist for me. It's like, why do people want to talk about me? Why should I share my story? I'm telling the story of John Assaraf and Oprah Winfrey and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and all these people who've done amazing things. Who cares about me? I would see it as being selfish to share my story. It's actually selfish not to share the story, because it's not about you. When you're coming from the right intention, when you see that your story can serve people, when I share my story and that inspires somebody, your story can be just as inspirational. Your story might change somebody's life if people know what you went through. That's why I wrote Built to Serve, is to try to help get your message out there, to share your story with the world, because if you're silent, it perpetuates the silence. When you are too afraid, it makes other people afraid. Right? Whatever you went through, if you can bring it out and make it public, then anybody else who's struggling with that same thing, they feel, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this. And you having the courage to share it gives other people more courage and inspiration in their own life, right? Man, that took years. That took years of me unraveling it, of Steve, my agent, pushing me, yelling at me in a loving place, getting frustrated with me, to get to that point, to understand that my story has value. And so that was a pattern that I had to really work on overriding, partly because I didn't believe that I needed to. I thought I had my identity tied up in, I don't need to share my story, that it's selfish to share my story. So I had to override that pattern. The trick is understanding that our patterns do rule us, that your subconscious mind is in control. And once you find a pattern that you want to break, how do we actually break it? So let me give you a process that can help you more quickly override the negative patterns that are keeping you small, keeping you safe, keeping you from hitting your ambitions. Let me give you a process. Step number one is you have to be able to identify what the negative pattern is. Do you know it already? Because for me, the whole fame thing, I thought that was a good thing. And so I would fight against it. Where really it was limiting my ability to serve. If your ultimate ambition is to serve, Evan, you have to get more well-known, period. Even saying it, I still have trouble with it, but it's a lot better than what I used to be. So what is it? What is the pattern? Do you know what the pattern is that you want to override? Step number two is being around the thing as much as possible, being around the people who are living the new pattern that you want to have. This is why I make so many videos, because I hope that if you hear the same message from different people in different ways, in different words, on different days, that it finally sinks in, because it sinks in for me. The more I hang around with John Assaraf and Oprah and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and these people, the more that their words are in my head, the more I start to think like them. The more I see that, oh my gosh, they're all saying the same things, just in different words, where Oprah's gonna hug you and Eric Thomas is gonna yell at you, but it's the same message a lot of times from these successful people. It's why in my videos I show athletes and entrepreneurs and inventors and musicians, because a lot of times it's the same message. It's the same message. Michael Jordan has the same message as Oprah Winfrey a lot of times. Now, we're not talking about how to dunk or how to play basketball, but in how to have success, in the habits, in the mindset, it's the same mindset. And that's what I wanted more of. And so you need that too. Whoever embodies the mindset that you want to have, the shift that you want to make, be around them daily. Watch their videos daily, read the books daily, listen to the podcasts daily, every single day, because you've taken on the limiting belief. You've taken on the limiting belief system because of your environment, because of your parents, because of your friends, because of what you grew up in. You've taken on that limiting belief system. And that's been decades likely of living that belief system. And so now you have to take on the positive one. You need to rewire your brain by being around the people who are living the life that you want to live. So you don't notice that on a day-to-day basis. You might go to some event or some conference or watch one video and get all excited and be inspired and be positive and be motivated and be ready to make the change in your life and rah, 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 and you're on top of the world for the next week. But then what happens? It falls down. Because one single video is not going to be the difference maker. One single event doesn't hold you accountable to stay consistent. It's in that regular consistency that will allow you to follow through. Just like brushing your teeth is not going to be the thing. One time brushing your teeth doesn't mean you're not going to get cavities. It's in the daily brushing of your teeth. The daily brushing of teeth. And which is the day that helped the cavity not form? Who knows? You know, there's not one day. It's in consistently brushing and flossing your teeth. Don't forget to floss, super important. It's in that daily habit that's when the changes start to happen. So same thing for your life. You need to be constantly, every day around. From the videos you watch, again, videos are my primary. That's why I've made over 10,000 videos, because that's how I need to be around these people every day. But it's also the clothes you wear. This reminds me that I'm a superhero going to work every day when I put this on. As silly as that might sound, but for me, that's what I tell myself. I put this on and I'm a superhero ready to go to work. Superheroes have their outfits. This is my outfit. This is my costume. From the pictures in my office, where I've got the 5 pictures on the wall that mean something to me, from the music I listen to, and again, the videos that I watch, you have to create that environment and routine for yourself to be around the people who are living the life that you want, who are thinking the way that you want to think. The more you're around them, the more it's going to seep into your nervous system and start to shift your subconscious mind. So first step is identify, right? Identify what the pattern is, the behaviors that you want to change. Second is be around it every single day in some form, video, book, environment, clothes, all of that. And then the third step is anytime you can catch it, just try to course correct. So anytime that I catch myself thinking, oh, I can't do that because that's too ego driven, or that's too like fame driven. It's not about, I don't want to share my story. My story is not meaningful. It's not worth it or worthwhile to anybody. Anytime I say that and I can catch it, it's taking a corrective action. Understand that most of the time you won't catch it. Most of the time, the subconscious pattern just stays in that loop. But when you do catch it, and you take the corrective action, you start to make the change. If I ever catch myself thinking about fame and then I play small, that reinforces a negative pattern. You have to force the break. So whatever your negative pattern is, whatever subconscious pattern is being run on default that is keeping you small, safe, unable to reach your potential, unable to serve like you're capable of, and you actually do catch it in the moment. You actually find, like today, maybe something happens and you catch, I'm doing it again. It's happening, I'm doing it again. I caught it. Having the courage, the boldness, the audacity to, in the moment, actually make the shift, actually make the change in a way that makes you proud of the life that you want to be living, in the new habit that you want to be consistently on. If you can start to do that, you will start to see that shift happen. So number one, you have to catch what the pattern is. What is the pattern that you want to change? What is the subconscious programming that you have that's been baked into you that your parents and your family gave you growing up, that now decades later you want to make the shift? 2, consciously being around the things that make you feel that way on a daily basis through videos, podcasts, clothing, environment. And then 3, when you do actually catch it, when it turns from subconscious to conscious, which won't happen most of the time, but when you do catch it, having the courage and the boldness to actually take a corrective action and do the thing that will make you proud of your actions. That's how you shift your subconscious negative patterns so that you can start living the life that you want to live, to serve, to bring value to others, and to be fulfilled on an everyday, consistent, ongoing basis. Let's go. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch a video and you just get inspired, the statistics say you have a 35% chance of actually following through. But when you get motivated through a video and then you actually create a plan of action, you have a over 90% chance of following through. From 35% to 90% plus, because you created a plan of action, and when you commit to somebody else, commit publicly to say, I'm going to do this, it jumps to the mid-90s. That's what I want for you, because Believe Nation, we take action, we follow through. We don't just get motivated, we actually do something about it so we can make the positive shift in the world that you wanna make. And so question of the day, I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? Let me know, put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate with you too.
Hey, this is John Assaraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15, $20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve, find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece. And maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. One of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You are not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, rising star.
Your brain is always developing habits. So it's happening whether you want it to happen or not. And the question is, can you take control of the process? And in a lot of ways, the fact that we have these mindless automatic behaviors, it's a pretty good system that evolution has designed. I mean, if you think about it from a very high level, as you go throughout life, you are facing problems. And some of those problems are big problems, and some of them are really small ones, like you need to tie your shoe. And your brain, whenever you come across a solution to the problem that you're facing and you repeat it again and again, your brain starts to automate that. So, you tie your shoe once and the first time it takes some effort and so on, but then you do it 50 or 100 or 200 times. And pretty soon you can tie your shoes while having a conversation or thinking about something else or whatever. And this is sort of the role that habits play in our lives, is that they are these mental shortcuts, these kind of automatic scripts that you can just play whenever the situation or the context is right. And they free up cognitive resources to focus your attention elsewhere. And so that's a really good system overall. We use it all day long without thinking about it. But occasionally it can serve us poorly because, so let's say you come home from work and you feel stressed and exhausted. And that's a problem that needs to have some kind of solution. So for one person, maybe they learn that if I play video games for an hour, I'm no longer stressed and exhausted. For another person, maybe learn if I smoke a cigarette, I reduce stress. For a third person, maybe it's meditating for 10 minutes. For a fourth person, maybe they run for a half hour. And the point here is that different solutions can solve the same recurring problems throughout life. And so your original habit is not necessarily the optimal habit for solving whatever the situations are that you come across in your life, the problems that you face day in and day out. And so if you can, it becomes more about designing a better solution to those problems. And that's where my focus is like, all right, we're building habits anyway. How can we develop better solutions to the recurring problems in our life?
If you want another amazing John Assaraf video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
We developed a process called the 5R process. And the first R stands for
You retrain your brain one small decision at a time.
And you've got to have meaningful goals.